The exhibition here at Wales Millennium Centre, Cefyn, is Welsh chapels, familiar territory for your work, but why the interest in the first place?
Well, the very first chapels I did obviously were the chapels in Ogwen Valley where I was born. And it basically started when they actually started to demolish them and closed down the chapel I was christened in and then the chapel I was confirmed in. And, you know, when you start losing things that's given you your character and things, you start looking at them a bit more and you start missing them. So it started there really. And the more I started looking at their texture and their story, the raw materials and the colour of the land in Wales around them and what they're made for and what they represented as part of our heritage and upbringing and things. It just carried on going for me really, and I can't see it stopping. I've been out to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Vermont, New York State looking at the ones there and the Liverpool Welsh chapels. So to me, it's actually, they're still fascinating as sort of iconic buildings about, and what they say about us as people, really.
There's also a section which is about chapel crockery, and this was very part of the culture of a chapel, wasn't it?
It's a sort of, I suppose it's, for me, it's the next interest, really, because I've got quite a collection of chapel crockery. Different chapels, some from, well, Bethesda, Merthyr, where Joseph Parry, I've got that crockery in the collection. And I've got quite one or two from Liverpool Welsh chapels that I went in the war as well. And to me, you see, it's looking at the crockery started getting a bit in depth, a bit more what they represent. You know, when you get a piece of cups and saucer of a chapel that's closed down as part of your family, it's almost like a trigger. It's a key to a memory. I see, I smell, I hear, I taste that chapel. I see and hear those people. I remember the times of it. So it became a little bit sort of looking at each one of these cups and saucers and thinking, well, that's what's left of that big chapel and their movement and their hopes and aspirations and the choirs and the Eisteddfods and the Gymanfas and the chapel teas and the poetry and everything that went with it. And now it's gone, usually a car park or built on, and the next generation don't even know that they existed. But there's a cup and saucer left, or a plate. So that's why I'm looking at them more and building up, recording them, like a visual catalogue, if you like, of the cups and saucers and styles and names, and building them slowly. They're creeping along the wall slowly of each one that I'm acquiring. There's another one going to the wall, another one on the wall, another one on the wall. And hopefully it's a catalogue that to some people, you know, when I showed one or two of them in Bangor Gallery, it was amazing to see a lot of people in that locality that went up and the amount of time they spent discussing the people behind the picture, not the picture of the cup and saucer, but what they remembered of the people and what happened to the minister or the ministers, what happened to the organist that was there and where they were, and all the stories.
There's a whole section on Welsh chapels in America in this exhibition, and they're very different. Yeah, that was actually a bit naive of me, really, when I went out there, thinking that the Welsh, you know, from Bethesda or Blaenau or wherever, where they went, would have built their chapels in the same way they built them here. And they didn't. So when I landed there, of course, I had to try and think how I'm going to represent them, how I'm going to actually warm up to them, because they're very New England style, white boxes, American buildings on the outside. It's only when you go on the inside you actually see the Welshness within them. And that was a help to actually start portraying them then, really. Oh, it was an amazing project. I think the Millennium Centre actually gave me a big challenge, which was brilliant to do, because it actually took me from north, south and west to different kind of communities, and to actually think about making a statement in each one about those communities, and to do it in textiles. Basically decided that it'll be 7 quilts for 7 communities. So the first thing you need to do is to weave the old tapestry and introduce traditional iconic fabric to each school and getting them then to record something about their community that is special and dear to them, so that we could actually then put it together as a narrative quilt, something that tells a story about them
and about them at the time, because a narrative quilt usually has a statement in it, be a religious form or community form about it. So working from there, each one then did their little postcard of a drawn postcard of from their area, what was special about them. And then from that we started cutting the fabrics, putting it together, attaching it, sewing it, putting it onto the flannel, and getting them to put their name on it and whatever they want to say about it on it. Teaching them how to sew basically on the sewing machines with me. And it was really nice because you see in each 7 of them that there is the colouring in their eye, even at 6, is very distinctive to them, from the seaside to Bangor, which Bangor's more green, to Blaine Festiniog in the purples and the blues, and the quarry, and what is important to them at 6, what they identify. And that was brilliant, I think, to see that naturally come through the children. And now there's all these quilts in there in 7 different colours, put together, because obviously, again, there was a tradition of using the old tapestry quilts, woven tapestry, as batting for quilting. So applying the surfaces onto that to make a quilt also brings that tradition in. So from one of those items now in their schools, they can actually pull it apart and look at all the different traditions, male and female, within the textile industry in Wales. And that was, that was the big grand concept, if you like. But in reality, they're just beautiful snapshots that the children have done in bright colour and bold, and very honest image of their own communities, which has worked beautifully. And it's a nice project to be part of.
And it ends up here in the Millennium Centre, which is great.
Yeah, again, it's a real big boost for me that they've done that, to put the quilts there, and also to have my work alongside it, really. So it's been a nice opportunity to end it like that, to see the work up. When their work goes up in a wall in a frame or in a finished item, rather than thinking that drawing and art is something you do for half an hour and then it's gone. It actually is a bigger field than that. It's a bigger field that gets represented on a wall, that people will come and see their work, and that gives them a whole different aspect of the importance of visual art as well as the other art forms. So no, it'll be really lovely for the kids to see them up on the wall, and basically to see me and them together. I think it's quite nice in one show, so it's a lovely thing to do.